Welcome to the Dating Mechanic Show. I am your host, Alicia Bennett, the Dating Mechanic. And today, of course, every time you listen to the show, but today we have a special guest. We have Bruce and Tiffany Jenkins. And boy, they have a lot going on. So we are going to have a great show today because they've been married for 21 years. They are the creators of Work Hard, Play Harder 757. And they're all about breaking down barriers for Virginia creatives. Hold on, that's not it, but also the cannabis consumers. So I want to hear all about that. So join me as we talk about leading with love on this episode of the Dating Mechanic Show right after these messages. Thank you for tuning in to the Dating Mechanic Show. Don't forget to check out our ice cream. No, not that ice cream, but ice massage cream. Our Silky Shea formula not only soothes and relaxes, but also keeps your skin deeply moisturized. It's perfect for those intimate massage sessions with your partner or simply as a luxurious self-care treat. Want to support the show? You can purchase Ice Massage Cream easily on Amazon or just head over to thedatingmechanic.com.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, turn on your ears and open up your heart because you know dating each other out here today is definitely a fine art. So, to get us off to a great start, please welcome the one and only dating mechanic herself, Miss Alicia Bennett.
So I'm sitting here today with Bruce and Tiffany Jenkins, and we're going to talk about all the things. So I don't know you guys, so I get to ask all the questions that, because we're just meeting for the first time. Of course, we looked each other up and all the things, but I get to ask some really great questions. So first of all, I want to know all you do, because you do so much in the Hampton Roads area. So let's get a feel for who the Jenkins are.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Alicia, for having us. I think what we stand for is basically giving artists a platform to be able to express themselves, and also just making sure that our community has what they need.
Okay.
Whether it be to be able to de-stress after, work, or whether, that comes in the form of music or cannabis. So I think that it's been our goal to see some healing within our community. And so we just thought, let's come up with some creative ways to get people to be more cohesive and less divisive. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel that one. And, I truly feel like we're community organizers. No matter what we do, we're actually community organizers. And the whole thing is we see spaces in the community where there's improvement can actually be made. And when you're looking at your community, coming from a consumer point of view, coming from a point of view of an individual that is a resident here. I grew up here. I was raised here. She grew up here. She was raised here. We actually understand the things that are missing, and we have a heart big enough to want to fulfill those needs. It's funny because we've been in business 3 years. With the things that we do so many different things. I mean, it doesn't matter, art, fashion, politics, movies, music, every single thing we can get our hands on that is artistic creativity. We like to put on platforms for that, but also we just really want Virginia to have the opportunity to flourish. At the end of the day, these are intellectual properties that these individuals are creating. And the problem when it comes to the artist industry is that people don't really know how to own and how to take control of their art. You see, we're coming from a position where we're bosses. We understand what it takes to own things. We understand what it takes to manage. We understand what it takes to create a structure, what it means to have admin and things of that nature. And so we are able to help our community to be able to garner that. You can be an individual artist, but as long as you're on top of your paperwork, you could be a boss at the same time. You don't have to go to labels and beg for stuff. You can actually live off of your own credit, off of your own merit, if you do it the right way. And we want Virginia to make sure that we're creating so many millionaires that Virginia looks like Miami and LA 10 years from now.
And I love it. And I think that it's moving in that direction because of people like you and you guys we're going to talk about how great of a job that you're doing with it. But I understand what you mean because you're working with adults, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
But I work with children,
Yeah.
being that I have a nonprofit and we focus on youth entrepreneurship.
Oh,
And that's what we do. So we make little millionaires.
Hey,
You make big millionaires and we make little
I
millionaires.
think the best millionaires are little millionaires
Oh,
because their money has
absolutely.
the best expectation to grow. They have longer to grow.
They have longer to grow. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you got into the cannabis area.
So I have a friend, and she has a friend who came to us, and he was having a birthday, and he was like, "Hey, he had tasted my food prior to, and he was like, your food is delicious. Can you make me a cake?" And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Well, side note, I wanted to be cannabis."
Okay.
Prior to legalization, cannabis in my husband's family has been legal their whole lives. So it wasn't really a transition for his family. With the legal market, it just was normal.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of knew that about us, and he's like, "Hey, can you make me a cake?" And I was like, "Okay." So we made him the cake, and he paid a significant amount for that cake. And it was a sweet potato cake. I'll never forget it. And
Delicious. That sound. That's the sound you make.
It's literally that.
Uh-huh.
So he came to me after, and he said that cake was so delicious, I would have paid for the same amount without even the cannabis in it.
Okay.
And, when he gave me that amount, I knew. I was like, this is
something,
right? But it was not just that, but it was also the socialization factor. It was seeing, people come together and be able to enjoy this experience together. And it was just such a exciting thing for him, his friends, and he. And so I thought, this is going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let him tell the rest of the story, because honestly, that was the spark. But there was a major turning point once legalization happened.
Okay.
So.
Well, I say for myself, I was actually born in cannabis. I can't say that it's something that is that it came to me new when the legal market actually came. My family are extremely big advocates when it comes to cannabis. We believe in cannabis. We're the type of family we indulge in cannabis more than we indulge in alcohol.
That's true.
And the ones in us who indulge in alcohol more than cannabis, they're not that light. Because the thing about it is, we learned a long time ago of the benefits of cannabis and on so many different levels. I mean, when it comes to, it's not only a social tool, it's also a psychological tool. It's also one of those type of things that can help your ailments. It's also the type of thing that can create a party. At the end of the day, they have so many uses, and my family has been the type of family where we've been known for that. You come to our house, you come to our bar, we smoke. That's how we do it. We party, we have a good time. Ever since I was a child, I've always been big into cannabis. When I was 5, 6 years old, we were in, I grew up in tough neighborhoods and stuff. So, you will find stashes all over the place. And I used to take those stashes back to my mom and stuff. And like, hey, Mom. And, so my mom used to get a lot of free stuff. And then, but at the same time, as I was growing up, I had a lot of psychological issues and things of that nature. We grew up very, very tough, very, very poor. So having to survive in those situations, you need something that is going to, keep your mind right, to keep you out of those dark places. And that's what cannabis always been for us. So when they started to legalize, when they were focusing on the legal market, I thought it was something that was absolutely perfect, because 5 to 10 years prior to the market being legalized, I just started becoming a personal, I just started studying it 100%. Every single, I don't care what it was about, if it was about growing, if it was about the capabilities, no matter what it was, cooking, I literally studied cannabis. That was my life. I studied cannabis. And then next thing you know, they start having these legal conversations, but at the same time, we were, no matter if it was legal or not, we were going to partake no matter what. Mm-hmm. So when they legalized it, I remember when they did actually legalize it, I fell to the floor. I looked up at the sky and I thanked God, and I said, I'm going to create so many jobs We're going to create so many millionaires from this, because this is something we have absolutely dedicated our life to. This is something that we understand the market. This is something that my family and all the families around us have sacrificed their time and their life, have went to prison, have had to support their families in prison. And because, you know, when you're a breadwinner and you go to jail, that takes a lot away from things, but that is still a huge product, and the capabilities of it being a resource is outstanding. I believe it's that thing that's going to take Virginia to the next level. I believe it's going to the thing that's going to take our school systems to the next level, our police into the next level, our medical and our hospitals to the next level, our safety to the next level, because it's just extra billions of dollars that we never even planned on even playing with, and that market is so extreme. And so when I say I was born in cannabis, it's something that I live, breathe, and that, I mean, we literally have dedicated our life to. If you want to give away doctorates and PhDs, I'm going to be the first cat in the honorary, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's no, it is a huge resource. The same way that you're looking at content creation, the same way that we look at the internet is how we need to look at cannabis. And so, you know, so I'm very passionate about that.
I see, very passionate, very passionate. Thank you for explaining that, because, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, I'm not a cannabis. I don't, you know, indulge in any type of smoking. That's just my preference. But it's interesting how we can create businesses where people didn't think businesses could be formed.
Right.
And people are making millions and billions.
Yes,
Come
they
on,
are.
man.
And it's off a secondary market sometimes. It's not even, you know, or support markets. It's not even, you know, directly selling marijuana. Because if you look at our brand, of course, you know, you can always get it from us. But it is really 420 experiences.
Okay.
And that's essentially what we like, you know, for people to focus on. Socialization gatherings where they can feel comfortable. Because the idea really came from us saying, man, I wish I could smoke and do that, you know? And so he and I would just, you know, come up with all these different things that we wanted to do. So, for instance, we always wanted to go to an art gallery and be able to just freely smoke.
Without getting kicked out, though.
Without getting kicked out, okay.
We were just like, man, you know, just to be able to like, I don't know, you know, if you've ever known a smoker, they get kind of deep, right? And so I just thought, wow, you know, to be able to like analyze these, you know, paintings and sculptures and all these different things.
It's all better on weed.
And so we started to create different environments that we wanted to be able to partake in. And so we did the 420 gallery, you know, art gallery. And so, and we brought it to an underserved area.
It's here in Virginia?
Absolutely.
We do them actually all over the place.
We do.
We've had a dozen of these at this point.
We have. But our
so-
first one was actually in East Little Creek in Norfolk.
Okay.
And so that was something I feel like people really connected with. And a lot of the people that were coming into the building were just blown away because they never thought they'd ever be able to go to an art gallery. They never thought that, you know, they'd be able to experience these things. They thought, you know, oh, that's for rich people.
It wasn't on their social palette.
Yeah. and the same thing with our fashion shows as well. We have the first cannabis-inspired 420 fashion show. And it's in its fourth year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, we get a lot of love from the art galleries, but man, that 420 fashion show.
The fashion show.
There.
We've had the last one we just did was on the 24th Street stage in Atlantic in J Beach.
Yes.
And we had a cannabis and creative content creator panel, because these are the two newest industries of Virginia.
I like Canna Panel.
Yeah.
I think you need to keep Canna Panel.
It was definitely.
and that's exactly what we called it.
Yeah, keep that.
I think he did, you know, kind of want to explain how in depth it was, because we also do focus on creatives. So one side we had a few of our friends who are actually doing really great in the creative realm.
Okay.
Shout out to our friend first Tonya
Tony.
Maurice. He actually is Drew Sedora's manager, and
first
he was on the panel down there with us. Also, a great friend of ours, best friends, Bianca from College Hill. The I think it's second season. She was a Virginia State's alum.
Baby.
And she was on the panel as well on the creative side. And then we had mayoral candidate Sabrina Wooten, who also
Wooten for mayor.
That's right. Who also came out and just kind of explained like some of the things that she's dealing with in the community and some of the concerns of citizens with legalization. So that was just a big thing for us. We had a couple of cannabis supporters. Sarah Morton from Lot Green.
Sarah Morton.
She was also on the panel as
Sarah
well.
Morton, excuse me.
And so it just gave a lot of attention to what we were trying to accomplish. Just
about
giving
the 757?
757 shares. Shout out to you guys too.
757 shares. Shout out. That's a cannabis company as well. They are doing some great things and they give a lot of free product away, and I love that.
They do. They were great sponsors for our show, and they just kind of let you know, like, just because we're cannabis companies doesn't mean we can't come together.
Absolutely, you should come together.
We believe in that. Collaboration is important, especially in a smaller market like Virginia.
Yes.
The more we come together, the more the fans and the more the people get to understand the environment, and the more the people get to understand the environment, the more they invest in the environment. When the people invest in the environment, then the business and the government invest in the environment. Now you have a booming, thriving environment.
Yeah, and I think also it's really important to understand what their clients are experiencing, the needs that they would like to make sure that their clients are satisfied in that realm. And it's kind of been the same with us. We've actually been collecting data to be able to contribute to regulation.
Because I was going to ask that question about, each city, of course, is going to have their task force that's going to try to regulate you being able to, drive with it, walk in the streets with it.
That's right.
All of those things. I've heard about a couple of cities putting together those task forces to regulate.
They do. And Virginia Beach is one of them. We actually know Armentia, who is out of the Hive. She is a federally certified cannabis instructor. And I've been working with her closely. She also has a grant out of ODU, R&D research grant, which is very exciting, which kind of lets you know, like, even the universities and the cities understand how important it is to get it right.
It's important to get those universities involved anyway for R&D.
Yeah, you need it.
They're the greatest researchers of R&D, the universities. And we need R&D when it comes to the cannabis industry, because if we don't learn how to create the products from it, then we're not really tapping into the truest resource of it. I'm not going to say you're wasting it by burning it and things of that nature, but the true expectations when you talk about this, when you talk about creating plastics and metals and different fabrics and things like that, we have satellite dishes and all types of things.
Is what, 10 times stronger than concrete?
And I just want to say, for those who are listening, R&D is research and development, so that they are, we start getting technical and all the things in business, and then not everybody watching will understand that, but we are talking about research and development and what they're saying is developing products, because you can make fabrics out of hemp. You can make, different things. So it's not just for smoking or recreation. It's actually to help the environment, if you're going to say that. So doing that research and what's going to be next. We know that, plastic is killing the earth.
Yes.
Come on now.
So if we can get into another product that's going to help us be more, on the biodegradable and natural side of things, we definitely want to research those things and make sure that they're available to us. Right. How do you feel about the legalization of it and people still being in jail because of it?
Well, for myself,
Because that was a big issue when not to interrupt, but
No,
that
you're
was a big issue with me when I found out they were on the road to legalization. My first question was, okay, well, these people that are in jail because they had it,
right.
whether they had a pound or a bag or
Mhm.
whatever it was, whatever the legal limit is now,
Mhm.
are those people now going to be released because you're legalizing it now?
I believe that.
You can't legalize murder and then be like, no, but you guys got to
Mhm.
stay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you can't have a purge and they say we still locking people up for murder though.
Right. Like, what's happening here?
It makes a lot of sense, man. It does. And when it comes to that, in a perfect world, 100%, everybody who has ever been affected negatively when it comes to cannabis, legally, through their job, through credit, through whatever, should have some type of reparations because they have paid a major price for different entities to come into this game and to be able to make a lot of money.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but to keep an industry alive. Because if you really look at it, that's what they did. You know, they were keeping an industry that when it came to the powers that be, when they actually got to see the benefit of it, now, you know, they're actually reaping the benefits versus the people who have been on the ground level. Yeah. And this is another reason why we have dove really deep into this, because we actually are considered good players, what the regulatory boards consider us. And so we want to,
because you're following their rules.
Absolutely. So we
want to be clear about what's actually happening here. You know, we're not going to just overpass that and say, let's be clear about what's happening here. It's they see a way to make money for themselves.
Absolutely.
And how it's going to benefit them. And so therefore now it's okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, so now we're in the fight because we're like, hey, look, we get that you guys see the profitability, but you also need to understand that there are people out here that are good people who have sacrificed their lives and their freedom to be able to get to this point in this stage of, you know, ending prohibition. And so we have to look out for those people. I totally agree. I mean, if you're looking at the numbers of the tax revenue that's being brought in from cannabis, we have enough to make sure that those people have some type of leg up, right? So say, for instance, we decided, hey, if you've ever been in trouble with cannabis, maybe we circumvent your licensing, right? Maybe that is a way that we can kind of level the playing field a little bit. What I'm not really happy about the current situation is that it does not pay homage to the people who kept it alive and this industry growing until you guys got a chance to say, hey, this is profitable.
Right. This is going to benefit us.
Right. And so, you know, that's extremely overlooked. And also the people that have been in limbo in these last, you know, few years. Those are the people that I'm most interested in protecting because we actually got a chance to know them. And it's several factions out here. And they're just good people. Good, I mean, families, all of that. And so it's really become our mission to make sure that they are represented, they are protected, and they are respected. Because, you know, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
They paved the way, even though they had to pay the price.
There we go.
Absolutely. And we know all about that.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Paving the way and paying the price. Exactly. We definitely know about that. Well, let's get into some relationship stuff because we've heard about the cannabis and how you're growing your business and that you have several businesses. You're doing it as husband and wife. You're doing it as team members and partners. How does that all work? Because some people will say, I can't work with my husband. I cannot work with my wife.
I think for us, our situation is a little unique because with Work Hard, Play Harder, which is one of our curation brands, we are actually, it's two couples that that this company is. And so the Kayla and Javon, they really are the pioneers for this company, really, for Work Hard, Play Harder. We came in when they were actually creating this thing. We came in from the beginning. We became a great resource, and then we became one company together.
Okay.
And us being two different couples, I think it turned into something that was a little different because we were able to support each other in a way that I don't think has been really seen too much in business, where you have a even table of women and men in power, and that it doesn't turn into a power struggle because of the love and the respect in the relationship. And so I think that for myself, when it comes to being a married man, we got married when we were 20 years old. This is the first business decision that I've ever made.
That's true.
Signing that contract was the first business decision that I ever made. And it's at the end of the day, it's the only business that we've created that we can't sell for more money at the end of the day. So it's one of those things that you have to cherish on a different level. It has to mean more to you. You have to be able to feel something. And when it comes to a relationship, yes, everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to be the one that's in power. Everybody wants to be the one that overpowers each other. But out of that mutual respect and love is when you understand that, hey, I would not be here if it wasn't for that person. That person would not be here if it wasn't for me. And so if you have to be able to identify with that, that's the truest part of it. Then there are couples all over the globe and they sit in their bed and they have ideas and stuff like that, but nobody really sacrificed to actually do these things. Nobody are putting their money up. Nobody is losing sleep. Nobody is missing time with their children. Nobody's missing time with their friends. And so this is something that we really take serious. And when it comes to my woman right here, like I said, that this is my first business decision. And so this is the business that I am most intrigued in lasting the longest and investing in. The other businesses would have never been created if I wasn't trying to find better ways to be in this business.
So you've said something that I'm trying to get our people to understand, because other communities understand it. We are the ones that are lacking in understanding that marriage is a business.
It is.
And if we're not having that first foundation and understanding of that, this is why when things go on in the relationship, we can't hold the marriage together.
Right.
Because we're not understanding that the marriage is a separate entity from that relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The marriage is the business, the contract. The relationship is not the marriage. And I think that that's what people focus too much on. I've been married for 21 years. I still don't know if I'm good at it. I don't know if I'm good at being married. What I do know is I'm a great friend. I'm a great protector. I am a great provider. And I am a great lover. I know I'm good at that. So if I can just stay good at that, I think that makes a great husband. But if I focused on being a husband, I'm going to ignore that. So in my
it's a balance.
It is.
And we're not balancing marriage and relationship. We're focusing on one or the other, and that becomes a problem. But I think that you are good with marriage. I think you need to give yourself more credit than that, because if you're talking about marriage as a business, you've created several businesses on the back of your marriage. And so, and what you've said, marriage is your first business. So no matter what happens to the other businesses, you know that you have a foundational business that's going to continue. So that is, I say this all the time. And if you are listening to this show, please understand, research it, please. I never want anybody to just take my word for it. Research it. Do all the research you need to do. Talk to an attorney, a divorce attorney. They will be happy to tell you that marriage is a business. And that is how the government is going to treat it if you sign their paperwork.
That's right.
It's just that simple. It is that simple. So being that you're leading with love, first of all, let us know what that means to you.
I think that the biggest compliment that we get is how much we love each other, right? And so I think that our goal is to kind of show people that have not seen love in that way, to show them that love is possible, right? And not just love for your partner, but love for what you do, right? Because I think that we also shared a common love of the arts or a common love of cannabis, right? And they were things that we individually loved, but also loved together. And I think that that's been such a huge thing for our people to see, like all of our crew members and our team and everybody. It kind of sets a bar for them, right? To see, love in a form like that, because what a lot of people don't understand is, we grew up together.
Okay.
Right? We were kids. Like, we started dating at 19. I met him when I was 14,
She liked my cousin.
Yeah. Well, he was dating my best friend, so whatever. But and to be able to overcome all of these different challenges, he used to be in the Army, so these are pivotal parts of our lives that we essentially tell people all the time, like, we grew up together, but we also gave each other the grace to grow, right? And I think that when you're in relationships, that's usually the most lacking, right? He comes from a home that he didn't have that example, right? But I come from 40 plus years of marriage. And so I got to see how conflict was handled. I got to see how, interactions between, husband and wife. And so throughout the marriage, I've had to kind of remind myself, like, hey, he didn't get the blueprint. You're the one that got the blueprint. So you have to give him, grace and understand that the example wasn't there. And I think that a lot of people, when they have families and they're not really thinking about these things, right? You're not thinking, okay, is this person, and I'm not going to say equally yoked, because I don't really like that.
Okay.
I think it's more, have we really planned out what we want for our future, right? And when you don't, you really just don't know what you're going to get out of that, right? Because people under pressure are different people sometimes, right? You're not always going to get who you thought you went into this with.
Or who they said they were.
Yes, amen. And really, it's been the test of time, for us to, see each other in a different light and understand that growth has to take place. I think when you go in a relationship and you say, I don't want you to change, it's like, how is that possible? Like, you're getting older, your body's changing, your mind is changing, and it should be a constant evolution, right? And so when you don't want somebody to change and when you don't want somebody to grow, that is when the relationship is the most challenging, because now this person is stuck in this mold and they can't move, they can't breathe, they can't, they feel like they're not growing. And that's really what the breakdown of the marriage starts. And I think it was a few times in our marriage where we were just like, dude, what are we doing right now? It was never a question of whether we were going to walk away, right? That was never a question, right? We've never even broken up.
Okay.
We've been together 23 years. So when I hear couples like, well, we broke up and we got back together, I don't even understand that.
And the warranty isn't up on the gifts that they were given. That's a whole different situation right there.
It makes see, we all have a expectation in a relationship. You're going to have an expectation. The problem is when you allow that expectation to blind you to what a person is really supposed to do.
Mm.
You see, our expectations are created out of our wants, not out of the need of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's created out of our wants. And so that's what I tell her when she, because she says that, she was like, it was times in our relationship. I was like, I don't know those times. I never knew those times. I always knew that, hey, life was tough.
Mm.
There's going to be challenges. But if you're tougher, you'll overcome the challenge. And so it was never one of those things where I ever felt like this wasn't the right thing to do.
Mm.
It's never, I mean, it's been 20 years. It's never been a moment where I felt like this wasn't the right thing to do. And it's because with my concept of leading in love, is to reduce expectation. See, when you lead in love, you focus on what you bring to the table, yourself. How much can I pleasure? How much can I bring to the table? And if you feel like there's a shortcoming, you look at yourself in the shortcoming. Because when you got with this person, you said, and I remember the vows, I will honor, I will protect, I will love. It never said, I will wait for you to honor, I will wait for you to protect, I will wait for you to love. That wasn't the word. And I think that happens in a lot of relationships is people get so caught up in themselves. They get so caught up in the fact that this is what I want and I can't move at this time and all that stuff. And with myself now, granted, I did not come from a relationship-based family. My parents, they are, they're my parents love themselves
And
they love each other.
Okay.
But my parents have not been together since they were 18. They were, and my personal opinion is like they were the perfect couple that never stayed together. You know what I'm saying? And so, but what I end up being, because my father's name is Bruce, my name is Bruce. I look just like my father. I'm strong like my father. And so as a child, I truly became my mother's husband. It wasn't really a fact of my mother taking care of me. That was never the conversation. The conversation was always what I can bring to the table and how I can help my mother. And I just took that through life. I truly was a young man who saw my mother as a woman and not truly as just your mother. She's a woman. She has shortcomings. She is going to need things. She is going to be frustrated. She's going to be tired, especially living the type of life where you can't find, where things don't seem like they're working right for you and you feel like they should. And so being a young man, being forced in those situations, and my mother is smaller than me. So I have a hard time trying to blame her for the situation. I'm always trying to find a reason why it was my fault. And you know what I'm saying? And it's never, I can't say it's always the best thing because, people are supposed to wear their own faults. People are supposed to do that. But in I guess it carried over into my marriage where I do the same thing. Where it's like, okay, something's wrong, you're upset. All right, it's my fault. I did it. You know what I'm saying? My bad. You know what I mean? And, you're upset because you want something. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead and get it. Because I'm not indulging in the negativity. I'm not going to indulge in the frustration. When I'm indulging the solution. I'm indulging making it happen. And I guess that a lot of times in relationship, that's not, and it sounds like it would be the perfect thing in a relationship, but it's not.
No.
You know?
It doesn't sound like the perfect thing in a relationship. Because what I was going to ask was, how does that affect the relationship? Do you find that you pull on that a little bit because you know that he's going to cave in to whatever it is that you want?
I think when I was younger,
okay.
Yeah. I think as I grew, I got more frustrated because it was like, well, you didn't really want that. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're young, you're like, okay, thank you.
Right.
You know?
Right. It's the me
absolutely.
of it.
But as we got older, it was like, well, you're not being fulfilled. So how am I truly going to be fulfilled if you're not? And so it was like, okay, just don't tell me yes. Just don't, I mean,
what do you want?
Yeah. What do you want to? Because this can never really work if it's just all about me.
If it's one-sided.
Absolutely.
And so I know you probably can't pinpoint the year that you turned that leaf, but it would be interesting for our newlyweds out there, or for those who are getting into a relationship, if you could recount.
I will say this. What I have noticed about our relationship, and I was told this too by somebody very spiritual, it's about an every 8 years, right? It's like infinite, that number 8, right? So about every 8 years, it was kind of like transitioning, like, okay, we gotta change up some things, like how we handle things, right? And I think that I've kind of, like, in the last few years, I mean, because of course we've been, building companies together. We've just had to kind of figure, like, it's purpose and the passion, right? So when there are arguments and there are, conflicts about where we should go or what we should do, I think the core and the foundation has always been, well, I mean, we just really want to, something great to happen. We really want to do something fantastic for Virginia. And not just that, but our families and our legacy. So I think that those things supersede a lot of the conflict, right? And the funny part is, our business partners are the yin and yang of our relationship, right?
Okay.
So my female business partner, Kayla, is a lot like him.
Okay.
Right? And our male business partner is a lot like me, right? So it gives that, like, really even distribution of ideas and thoughts, and and it's from a male and female perspective.
I was about to say,
I
I love that. And the reason why I love that is because she's able to understand from a male point of view what's happening, and she's able to explain it to you in a female point of view, so that you actually get it, and not, I don't understand what he's doing and why he's doing it. And then she's able to explain to you, and you go, okay, well, that makes sense.
Exactly. And it's the same thing on the other side with Juan is, he thinks in a certain way, in a certain mind. And I tend to understand that a little bit more. So when, we have things that we're trying to work through, it's like, okay, I get that,
Yeah.
So I think that's been such a major part on how we diffuse issues and conflict. And it's not just us, right? So the decisions will never just be on us, right? So we don't even got to take it there like that. The conflict can't even be too much anyway, because we still have another leg
setup,
of,
that you have to
partners.
consult.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So that really does kind of balance things. I would say if you were going into business together, it's probably best to have a mediator, where it's like, okay, this is how he feels, this is how she feels. Let's kind of come together and see if we can create a solution that serves both of us. Because really, ultimately, this is about the success of our marriage. This is about the success of our brands and our companies. So, that's first and foremost.
First and foremost, the marriage is the foundation.
Absolutely.
The business is first and foremost, right?
Right.
Absolutely. I love it. So what advice would you give to couples who are thinking about going into business together? Because I believe that every couple should build something. And I always say to couples, what are you building together?
Right.
And how are you helping your community through what you're building? And it doesn't necessarily need to be a business where you are gaining profit from it and keeping it for yourself. It could be that you're giving it back to the community. It could be a nonprofit. It could be whatever. But we know that the currency of the world, it makes the world go round, correct? So we're not going to be naive and say that, money is not needed. But what are you building together that's going to help the community that you're in? So what would you say to couples that, they are thinking about going into business together, or they want to go into business together and they just don't know
My advice actually would be to do something that you all both are interested in. Because it just really it more feels like you're a helpmate to your partner if you're just investing in something that they like, right? So, for example, if, he wanted to, I don't know, like hunt, right? And he wanted maybe to start he's talked about this before, buy some land to be able to like do, like drills and all this other
Okay.
stuff, right? Now, I would have supported him in that,
Mhm.
but it would not have been something in my interest, right? I wouldn't have cared about black ops stuff and, all of these things because one, I don't even really like guns like that. But two, this is not something where my interest lies. So I would be helping you, but it wouldn't be fulfilling work. Right.
Mhm.
And I think that as, business partners, the work for us is fulfilling, right? It's not just about our business and the money and all of those things, but it's really about the service, right? What we're servicing our community, we're servicing, just love energy, right? We're bringing that to the forefront. So it's kind of hard to be super committed to something that you don't even like. So that would be my advice, is to find something that you guys both have a stake in or have a similar interest in. Because, it's already hard enough to run a business together, but then to be running a business that you're not even really interested in, it makes things more frustrating. So that would just be my advice.
Okay.
What I would say is make sure you know why you're getting into this. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing. Make sure you know what role that you would like to play. I think that really in business, finding the perfect role for yourself keeps you going. It keeps you inspired. Also, coming up with free time. My business partner just said this the other day. She was like that. Her and our partner Javon came up with a rule where they cannot talk about business before noon. You know what I'm saying? Before noon. I thought that was absolutely beautiful because we own businesses together 100%, but I still have a full-time job. I also make music as well. I also have a full-time gym regimen. And so my schedule from 6 in the morning to about 11 o'clock at night is packed.
Absolutely.
100%. And so having just some moments where we can talk about something else. Because, when you're in business, you're going to have a dreamer and you're going to have a strategizer. And the dreamer never stops dreaming.
Never.
We don't stop
We
talking.
dream in our sleep.
We
Mid-sentence, we're telling you about another dream.
There you go.
Fabulous.
And sometimes, especially when based on what your role is in that, saying for myself, my role is the financial role in that. So that can be extremely stressful.
But he's also
when we have all of these dreams, and he's like, "But how are we gonna fund all of the dreams that you got?"
Well, here's
the
thing that really puts fire under me, right? Because whenever he brings something up that I really, really want to do, and he puts that finance in it, I'm like, I'm gonna get this done.
Listen,
it puts fire under me.
I understand.
I'm gonna find a sponsor.
Look,
I don't care what I'm gonna do.
Don't tell me what I can't do. Let me go ahead and fix it right now, because that is the relationship with my partner as well.
Yeah,
he's the one I'll tell him all the dreams, and then he'll go. He's good with the spreadsheets. So now I'll see an Excel spreadsheet that he's shared with me, and he's like, "Okay, I need you to put all the things." Because from what I'm seeing, this is what it's going to take. Right. So he never tells me it can't be done.
Right.
This is what it's going to take to
bring to
get
fruition.
It done.
Yes. And I think that is the important thing, that it's not, when you're dealing with, especially having business partners and all that stuff, you have to, and this is 100% for relationships, remember, it is not just you.
Mm-hmm.
It is not just you. And so when it's not just you, you want to make sure that not only are you making this the best decision for the business, but you're making it the best decision for the partners in the business as well. Me, I'm a cat from the street. And one thing that I understand about it is any partner, anybody around me eats. Point blank, period. If you're going to be around me, you're going to eat. And that's what makes my relationships with people stronger, because my time is going to create benefit. And so if you are a dreamer, let's dream, but let's make the dreams come true.
Absolutely.
I don't like wasted conversations. I don't want to waste my breath. So if we're going to have a conversation about making something happen, hey, this is what you're going to need. This is what we're going to have to do. This is who we're going to have to reach out to. Hey, let's go look for our resources and things of that nature. And that's the thing, and so that's why I believe that sometimes you're going to need that peace, that peace where I'm able to look at you and just say, man, you look good today. And we just vibe off of that. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll have our space for business and make the business happen too. But with the relationship and peace of mind and, lowering your stress and, blood pressure and things of that nature, you want to be able to pull away. Like I do a lot of different things, and the thing that makes me the most active is when I get stuck into something, I have to be able to pull away from it. When I pull away from it, I focus on something else, I come back, bam, it's like, oh, here go all the ideas and stuff. But you don't get that if you have a 14-hour shift, every 14-hour schedule every day, and then the moment you wake up, every single little gap, every single little space is filled with something that somebody else, and it's really responsibilities at the end of the day, because it's not really just dreams. Your dreams turn into responsibilities. It's okay, you have this dream, but that gives me the responsibility to make that dream happen. So I have to kick this dough out. I have to make this happen. We have to do this. We have to call that person. We have to make this person. We have to bring that person. And I'm going to lose sleep here. I'm going to have to cut away from this. And what I'm saying?
He got the pathway all the way. He's thinking about the whole pathway all the way through.
I came up with nothing. So it's like you have to be able to see what you want. And you got to be able to plan for what you want. And you got to be able to go and get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing being a dreamer. It's a beautiful thing being a dreamer, because without dreamers, we would not have, this room would be bare. This room would be nothing in this room if it wasn't for dreamers. You know what I'm saying? But it also would be nothing in this room if it wasn't for somebody that was helping that dreamer strategize.
Yeah, investors.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And,
it wouldn't have. So it works together. That's why I say it's very important for you to understand your role, for you to understand your part, and for you to create certain guidelines to be able to create some type of freedom outside of business. Because I don't know if you know, but a business is like a child.
Yes.
A business is like a marriage. A business is like having a sick parent that can't do anything for themselves. Everything that happens for that business, you make happen. And it's going to take a point. You're going to have to keep making it happen until the business can actually get up like a baby, learn to walk, and go places without you.
And you're still going to have to guide.
Come
and
on.
you're still going to have to
protect.
Because anybody
guide.
that comes into that child's life, what's happening over there? Are you sure that's what you want to do?
Right. I don't know.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
This has
important.
been a great conversation. Leading with love. I think you summed that up very well in the ending here, of being able to be that protector and that guide. I love that. What do you have coming up next? Because I'm pretty sure something cannabis wise is coming up next. So what you got going on?
We really don't have too many cannabis related events for the rest of the year.
Well, hold up now, my birthday party.
I said too many.
He did say too many.
Right.
We do have a pajama party that we're going to be throwing. It's going to be at S5 in Portsmouth. It used to be the bank, now it's S5.
October 5th.
It's going to be on October 5th. That's going to be crazy. We're going to have all type of live performances. It's going to be a time. If you went to the pajama party last year, it was at the Collective. It was at a small spot in Little Creek. We done stretched out. We done stretched out wings. You know, we stepping big now. You know, shout out to the team and everything. Also, we have this weekend, we have a sync licensing workshop where we're teaching artists how to use their music to sell to TV and radio and things of that nature to be able to make an income. One of the most important questions to ask yourself as an artist is, how does an artist eat without a fan base? Sync licensing is how an artist eats without a fan base. Shout out to Jaquan Grant, who's going to be who's our guru and our teacher, who's going to be leading us through that way. I will be hosting the event. It's going to be something that's going to be a scream as well.
And that's at the 80/20 Juice Bar on Northampton.
And that's Saturday?
Saturday from 12 to 5.
From 12 to 5.
And it's also an open mic, so if you guys want to show up and, you know.
Well, where can they reach you? Because I don't know if this show will air before Saturday.
So we are WHPH 757, Work Hard, Play Harder. And you can follow our page for all of our events. You can also follow us on _sugar_high, HYE. And we pretty much post the same events on that site as well. But you can kind of see like some of our holiday gift sets that we've got coming up. You know, we're working out some things with some local politicians as well, so you guys can keep a lookout for that. But yeah, it's been a blessing to be able to service this community and just make sure that we're, you know, protecting the arts.
Very much so.
That's awesome. We definitely need the arts back in schools and everywhere. Being able to be creative is how we grow as a community, but as a society.
Absolutely.
So we definitely want to make sure that we're keeping those creative juices flowing.
Hey, Cannabis is going to bring back the art programs.
Yeah,
okay.
I really do believe that. We're steadfast in working to just make sure, because I mean, I say
Stuff is going to be way more dope. They're going to have way more equipment. It's going to be technology is going to be crazy. It's going to feel like you're on a subway in Japan. It's going to be crazy, and we're going to make sure that happens in Virginia.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I love it. 757 creators is just, we have so many talented people here, and we want to be able to shout them out. And whether they come here and be creative or whether they're born here and they're creative, there's just so many of us here, and opening those opportunities for them is just great.
And I was going to say, shout out to Brian for suggesting for us to come into the show.
Brian Owens.
Yes. Brand. He That's literally tagged us, and he was like, hey, y'all need to come on the show.
Absolutely.
You know? And I was just honored. He comes from a long line of love. His parents were together 40 plus years. So yeah, it was definitely an honor for him to tag us. So I was like, I filled out the application.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I love it. And make sure, guys, you listening to this, make sure that you are hitting that subscribe button wherever you're listening to it, whether it's Apple or Amazon or YouTube, wherever you are. We are broadcasting on 17 different podcast stations, so you can find us, okay? We out there. Find us, big subscribe. Motion. Look.
That's the definition of we outside.
Listen, we outside. So go ahead and subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast. Yes. For more podcasts like this, because this was very enjoyable.
Oh, if I do got a little. Hey, I'm also an artist as well. My name is MSO the Great. MSOTHEGREAT, and yes, I am great because I bring great to the plate. Check this out. We release new music every 3 to 4 weeks. We release a new song every 3 to 4 weeks. Follow us on any of your favorite streaming platforms, whatever. I am MSOTHEGREAT, and I guarantee you I do not disappoint. Come and be a part of the journey.
Great to the plate. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for being my guest today. And join us next time on the Dating Mechanic Show.